What's up guys, welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I am Daniel and in this video we are going to be talking about why the Qatar World Cup will fail. Before we do get into the video, I need to remind you all to subscribe to the channel. Please go down below and hit that big red button. Also like the video and comment down below. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? We've got some prediction videos coming out next week. It's a very busy week on the channel next week. So make sure you've got the notification bell on to stay tuned for all those videos. Also, please go over and follow the Instagram and the TikTok Daniel Talks Football on both. Right, why will the Qatar World Cup fail? I've got quite a few reasons down here, and I just wanted to sort of talk about them. It's Wednesday night as I'm talking about this, and the England squad comes out tomorrow. So, I'm in the World Cup spirit, and I thought I'd sit down and speak about why this World Cup really isn't a good idea. Earlier on this week, Sepp Blatter, the guy that gave Qatar the World Cup, even came out himself and said that it was the wrong decision. Now, we know why Qatar have the World Cup, and it's because they paid Sepp Blatter. But even now he is saying that it was the wrong decision to give Qatar the World Cup, so that says a lot. The first reason why I disagree with Qatar having the World Cup, and there's quite a few, is because it's in winter. The football seasons had to be changed around to have this World Cup in Qatar. You could have held it anywhere else pretty much. You know, it's the first time there's ever been a Winter World Cup. That says a lot. I know you want to spread the football cheer everywhere, but I don't care. Don't have the World Cup in the winter. The first reason for not having it in the winter is because it's going to have an effect on the normal season. Some teams have just got going. I myself, as a Leicester fan, our season's just got going and it's all stopping again to have a World Cup. You've got teams will have a month off now. For teams that have changed their managers, or for teams that will change their manager, you know, Southampton have sacked Ralph, going to bring in someone new. These managers are now going to have a month to prepare the new side. Chelsea are going to have a month with Potter. Brighton are going to have a month with De Zerbi. I could go on. This isn't particularly fair, is it? Because this shouldn't be how... It's just not right to have a break in the middle of the season. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you also look at this from the fan perspective. If you think about the Euros... the Euros of 2020/2021. You know, you had, I know it wasn't a particularly normal year, so maybe we can even go back to the last World Cup 2018, when England reached the semi-finals. You had beer gardens with beer going absolutely everywhere. You know, fans were all out in their masses watching the game on big screens in city centres. We can't do that this year. We'll be standing there freezing cold in a woolly coat, woolly hats and a hot chocolate. It doesn't make sense for the fans. It doesn't make sense for anyone. I mean, we're going to return to the fans later because that is one of the big things. But before we do return to the fans, injuries. If we're looking at just the football side of it here, because we know there's loads of human rights issues and we're going to get onto them. But if I just touch on the injuries here, Sadio Mane, Reece James, who else is there who's out? There's so many players that are out. Son's just had to confirm he's making it. But still, is that going to be 100% fit, Son? You have players that are getting rushed back for this World Cup as well. Like, you know, these players shouldn't particularly be going because they've been injured. Yet the national team managers will now take them. There's so many players that... I mean, look at this weekend. You've got a game happening tomorrow as of you listening to this. Players aren't going to be giving their all in that because they know if they get a weak injury, they're not going to Qatar. If they get an injury for just a week, they won't be on the plane. Well, actually, most squads will be announced by then, but there's an issue with it. Teams can also change the squads up to 24 hours before the first game, so if there is injuries, they can change them very quickly, and they're going to have to. You know, teams don't have a while to sit there and prepare tactics together. They've got a week of which they're going to be travelling over to Qatar. I mean, if we look at the travel over to Qatar and the accommodation in Qatar mainly, Qatar don't have enough hotels. They've had to start trying to sell the idea of sleeping in the desert to people because they don't have enough hotels. It's abysmal. It's absolutely abysmal. You look at the fans here and they're going to a country where, I know this is a whole new point now, so we might as well move on to it. The fans, they're going to a country where they're not properly set up for this. They've had to build all their stadiums and you know, afterwards, half the stadiums are getting taken down anyway. The fans are going out to a country where you can't find proper accommodation and half of them are going to have to sleep in the desert. Or I'm pretty sure some of them are staying in the UAE and then going across. It's abysmal. I think so, some of them even staying in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. There's not enough hotels in Qatar to house all these fans, and it's abysmal. I mean, you also look at the actual fans going over there. Many fans don't want... Some people aren't even supporting the World Cup, but some people aren't going over there because of fears what will happen to them. You look at the LGBTQ plus community. Qatar have been so ruthless on this. Initially, when they were given it, they said, oh no, we'll be supportive, we'll let people do, you know, this and that. Now they're coming out and saying, you know, our prison sentences if you're seen to kiss your boyfriend. If you're a male, of course. What? If you want to have a one-night stand with someone, Phil Foden, please listen to this. If you want to have a one-night stand with someone, you know, that's going to be a long prison sentence. What? It doesn't make sense. Why have these guys been given the World Cup? It's not right. I mean, the Qatari laws are strict, and I understand that. And FIFA knew that the Qatari laws were strict when they gave them the World Cup. And now you're going to have people going over there who could get arrested for simply being themselves. It's not right. You've had people like Josh Cavallo come out and speak openly about why this is just unacceptable, and it is. Gary Lineker's recently came out and said that there's 2 players he knows that will most likely be going to the World Cup who are gay. I feel like it'd be so interesting if those players were to come out during the tournament. Because what could the Qatari authorities do? If a man is seen kissing another man at this tournament, they're in prison. That is awful. You have people going over. You have people going over there who, well, people who can't go over there because they can't be themselves, and it's just not right. Well, I've got one more thing on the non-football side, and then we will move back to football. The human rights in building the projects. So many people have died building these stadiums. So many people because of the awful working conditions they've had. They've not been paid properly. And while the stadiums might look nice, it's not good enough. FIFA have given a country who have all these things wrong with it, who didn't have any stadiums, then have had to build the stadiums through awful working conditions. FIFA have given this nation a World Cup. You look at, you know, half the things aren't even finished. Stadiums aren't finished, hotels aren't finished. And what I've seen, I don't know if it's true, it could have just been a joke. But the hotel that the England team are staying in, the outside bit hasn't even been finished. You know, I don't think we're going to be getting any inflatables for this because the pool isn't finished. The pool's just a hole in the ground at the moment. I'm sorry, Saka, but you're not going to be going on any floating unicorns. It's awful. And I will quickly move back to the football side before we do round off the video. How is this going to work then? You've got a week until the World Cup, after the season finishes. Or the first half of the season finishes. You've got a week. Okay, you've got so many players already getting injured. Think about the amount of players that are going to get injured during the World Cup. And then they'll come back. The World Cup final, it's on the 18th, I think. So 8 days. 8 days from the World Cup final happening to football being back on the 26th in England. Some nations, it's not even like that. For Scotland, the first game back is on the Saturday, the 17th, before the World Cup even finishes. Players are going to be getting injured in the World Cup, and then afterwards it's going to be even worse. You're going to have so many players coming back to their sides just picking up injuries. You know, Jurgen Klopp, he's going to have a field day at the end of this season complaining about all of this football. Even Man City, with their amounts of squad depth, they're going to be playing some 12-year-old kid at attacking midfielder by the end of the season once Bernardo, Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, after these have all got injuries, Cole Palmer. Whose idea was this? Well, it was Sepp Blatter's, who has now said it was the wrong decision. And I'll leave you on that. The person that chose to send this World Cup to Qatar has now said it was the wrong decision. It's going to be an abysmal World Cup. this is throughout the tournament. I will obviously get into it, and I'll be doing match reactions and things like that. But I wanted to put out this video now before the World Cup because I'm a football channel. I'm going to have to talk about the World Cup. I'm going to have to do that. And I'm going to be watching the World Cup, and I'm going to be supporting England all the way. But before the competition, I wanted to do a video just saying how much of a bad idea it is, condemning everything that's gone on in that country. It's not right, any of it. So I did just want to, before the tournament starts, come on here. I don't agree with the Qatar World Cup. I don't agree with any of the things they've got going on. But, yeah, it's a tough one to talk about. I'm pleased I'm not going over there because, you know, I'd be scared probably, in all honesty. When you think about England camps of past, none of this has happened. Think about what would have happened if Australia would have taken Josh Cavallo. How would have he been treated? The workers who have built these stadiums, how were they treated? It's not about it is about football because it's about it happening in the winter. But away from that, it's about how these people have been treated, how the people will be treated in Qatar. And I'll leave you on that message. So thank you all for watching this video. A little bit different to what I usually do, but I did just have to come on here and talk about it. Please like the video, comment down below and hit that subscribe button. And I'll catch you all again on the next one. See ya!